Welcome to Remember Your Source. I'm Julie Deline, your host, and I'm excited and honored to have Jinny Ditzler here, the founder of Best Year Yet. She founded Best Year Yet back in 35 years ago now.
Yes, even more.
Yeah. So anyway, I have become a partner in 2006 and was trained by you. And I'm excited to have you on the show. So
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you want to tell a little bit about yourself, Jinny?
Well, early on, I think I discovered that inside each of us is a deep well of wisdom that can get buried. We can't access it consistently and inspiringly from time to time because we get doubts around us. And then we buy into those doubts and we think that's who we are. And then we can't go around with our thumb in our mouth, can't we? Saying, oh, I'm such a failure. I'm just so pitiful. And so we put a personality and a pretense and ego around that.
Right.
And then that's a lot of layers to dig through. But what I've discovered and what many other people have discovered is if you get in touch with your own wisdom, your goodness, your inner deep well of wisdom, Buddha nature, soul, whatever you want to call it, and you remember to come from there, then you just blast through all the layers. And I just think that's wonderful. And then in that source, if you will, that's the word you use, and I think that's a very good word. When I write, I pause and say, what is it you want to say? Or what is it you want to do here? What is the outcome you want for the readers? And, it's right there.
Absolutely. I love
it
this.
Shows up.
That's right. And that whole asking that question, that receiving it in is that very feminine place of receiving.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I love
and that's why, just briefly, why I built Best Year Yet. I think it was divine intervention because I'm realizing more and more about it. The 10 questions that the person who's making their plan answers. And those answers come from that deep well of wisdom, come from that source.
Yes.
And that's why people are so excited about the plans, because they own them. They're theirs. I don't have to tell people how to have their best year yet. I can tell myself how to have my best year yet, but that's it.
Yeah, right. I love that. Thank you so much. And the game, by the way, is called Your Wise Moves. So it is about tapping into the wisdom. I created the game based on 160 different questions. So it's the 5 phases that takes people through change. So it gives people a little bit different variety on what they're choosing, but it's all related and it's all very similar to what the Best Year Yet process is about.
Wonderful. It's just spreading and spreading.
It is, and it's growing, and it's we're deepening, but always coming back to that source, remembering source.
Yes, exactly.
So I'd like to pause and just invite the listeners in to take a moment to remember their source in this moment by breathing in, feeling that breath inside, getting to that inner connection while you're listening and receiving in this information. I always like to pause and have a moment of gratitude that you're here, Jinny. I have you on the show. I get to talk to you. And I get to share this with my listeners, my community, which I'm very excited to do. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm grateful to be here.
Excellent. Well, good. So we will start the game and Your Wise Moves. And
can I fail?
Yeah, It'll never fail. It's all about your wisdom. And it's just like what you're saying, you're going through the layers to get to what's most important.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is always a nice one. Describe a really happy time in your life. And what thoughts and ideas does this bring up about you and what you believe?
I think a really happy time in my life is, there are so many, and there have been more and more as I spend more time in the source and my own wisdom.
Right.
I let things go. I think the thing I want to talk about is Tim and I, about 4 or 5 years ago, Tim and I were having a struggle in our relationship. We still wanted to keep it, but it was a struggle. And I was standing, we'd been going on for months. And I was standing in the shower and piling up the case against him. When he did this, and then he did this, and then he did this. And I said, stop. You're doing what you've always told everybody else not to do, to fall for the story. And then, look what you get. And I said, I'm just letting it all go. I'm just letting it all go. And I really, truly did. The past was the past. It doesn't really exist.
Right.
And we went on to reclaim our marriage and love, and it's better than ever.
Yeah, that is a really good story, and especially around this mindful move, which I call a sense of presence, mapping where you're at to get a sense of presence. And when you do get to that place of you have to just let go, because all that exists is this present moment awareness, and those are all stories that we can hang on to.
Yeah.
So,
and look what we get.
Yes, yes. And it makes room for new directions. It makes room for more as you let go.
Oh, it certainly does.
You're speaking my language. It's the mindfulness. It's that mindfulness of letting go.
Mm-hmm.
So after we let go, then, and we move into this other aspect of opening our hearts, our bodies, even more, reconnecting all those parts of our source energy. Then we can start to think bigger and brainstorm and identify, ideas for possibilities. So with that, you did get a card on brainstorm. Simply brainstorm some possibilities. What do you see after you let go?
Well, I up until then, for the last year or so, I couldn't see Tim. I just saw the story.
Yes.
And as I let go, and it was quite instant, as I let go, I could see him again. I could see what I fell in love with. I could see this great human being. And it stayed. It just stayed. And I did acts of loving kindness for him. I didn't argue with him. I respected him and told him that I did. And, it was a different way of being for me than I'd been doing recently.
That's the point of acceptance. And when we just accept what is and we accept other people, we start to see their gifts more.
Yes. They transform before our very eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. This is such a great story. I didn't think we would be talking about a relationship, but I completely relate to this experience of having to let go of expectations and then see my partner for what he really is about and appreciating him.
Yes.
In that process. So yeah, and then we move to the next phase of what kind of vision, what picture in your mind is emerging as we're speaking about this?
Well, I really, my vision is I'm writing a new book, Your Best Life Yet.
Yes.
And my vision is to get the who I am, really, who I am message out to people, more and more people, because I think the model that we've developed is very easy to understand, and it helps people get through the stuff that isn't real,
Yes.
that we've believed in for so long. Look what I did. I didn't deliver on time. I failed, all the stuff that we beat ourselves up for.
Yeah.
So my vision is to get that message out to people, because I think it speaks to people. The who I am source, then the doubts cover it all up, then the pretense covers it all up, and we're lost because we go into the outer concentric circles to make our decisions and make our choices and make our what we're going to do next and what we're going to say next. So that's really my vision. I'm planning to do a TED Talk on it once I get further into my book. One of the chapters in it has 5 questions. One of the second question is, who am I? Who am I? And that is where I, augment the stories. And, that's why you and I got into coaching, because we can see who people are.
Right.
When they can't see it.
Right, exactly. And to be able to keep pointing, the reason I'm doing this show is to keep pointing to that center, that source energy, that as we release some of those layers, outer layers of pretense, of image, of all the confusion, including those thoughts of doubt and anger, or confusion in many different ways, as we let go of that and come back to our source, how we start to move from that inner place, and
right.
Everything starts to align a lot more. So,
it's so simple, really.
so simple, but it's not easy, right?
No, it's not.
I know, but I think we're all getting pushed in this direction in so many ways that, this has been my mindful practice for 20 years, and I just love taking people to this source energy, and why I'm doing the show. So it's great to hear you.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's great to hear you speaking in these ways.
You're on my team.
I'm on your team. I am on your team, Jinny. So.
And you're on mine.
Yes, absolutely. And that's that next phase of co-creating. How do we co-create and move it forward?
I just want to co-create with everyone.
Right, I agree.
Every time a person does a best year yet plan, or they read this book and go, I'm not as bad as I thought I was. I am a good person. I have goodness in me.
Oh, well, it's been wonderful having you on the show. I love what you shared with the community, and I love the direction that you're moving in right now. So any last thoughts that you'd like to impart upon the community?
Recognize the goodness and wisdom in others and let them know.
Nice.
Support them to put it to work.
Yeah, that's a co-creative moment. When we recognize it in other people, we are seeing it within ourselves as well. Very beautiful. Well, thank you, Jinny. I'm glad to have you on the show, and we'll talk more.
Yes, let's do. Thanks so much, Julie.